Hi, it's Ramba 1975 and welcome to Elite Dangerous on the Xbox One, and today I'm doing a video about my Ramba. My Ramba is a fun ship. I do love my Ramba, but it is an incredibly limited ship. It's not very good. Now, a lot of people will be surprised to hear me say this, but basically I built it as a troll ship for one purpose. There's a certain group of players that are very good, much better at me in PvP, but they like to use ships that plasma ram things. And the idea is basically you bring something that if they ram it's going to really hurt them, and then you watch them self-destruct on you. If you catch someone by surprise, it's brilliant. Now I built this ship specifically to catch out either, well, there was like a few people, but basically it was Ragnar Scott, who's a very good PvPer on top of the tree for IED, or maybe B Great, who's the leader of NTF, that's Cops. And he's also a great PvPer, both way better PvPers than me. And the idea was basically, if they didn't know about the Ramba, that it might catch them out and I might get a fluky victory against them. And it worked. I got my fluky victory against B Great, and it was purely down to the fact that, you know, until halfway through the fight he didn't adjust to the Ramba. Now if someone knows what I'm doing and is a good pilot, they will change the way they're flying to defeat my Ramba. It's not that difficult. You just orbit it with railguns and it's toast. It's not a particularly good ship. In fact, I would crush my Ramba with my beam to lance. It's that rock paper scissors thing. But it's got a particularly good record in 1v1s against FDLs, and I have got reasonably good at using it, even when people do know that it's a Ramba and I like advertise the fact it's such. But overall, it's not a good ship, and it's a limited ship. Like I said, here against Duke Vitrian, who's a lovely guy, and I really love fighting Duke Vitrian in 1v1s, organic 1v1s. So 07 Commander, he is one that definitely loves the plasma ram, and unfortunately that meant that this fight was a very one-sided affair. I think he got caught out a couple of times with bad pip management, and you don't want to be pip checked by this Ramba. This weighs more than a lot of Corvettes. It's ridiculous what I've done to this ship to make it the way it is. For the build, I would recommend you go to the Depression channel. His build is objectively better than mine. There's slight differences, but we both worked upon the same premise of using the broken mechanics. Now, my Ramba's Kryptonite is anything with a bi-weave. I've said this before and I'll say it again. If you watch my 1v1 with the Amberger, we fly equally, but the bi-weave will always outlast me. I'm in a one and done Prismo. The bi-weave keeps going back, and eventually in a war of attrition I will lose. Plus I'm too stubborn not to just keep ramming, and in this case this is a bi-weave shielded ship with mines. Now I could avoid the mines using my lats and orbit around him and work hard to, you know, outfly boat flight of Brep, or I could just ram in there like an idiot billy goat with my Ramba. And I know which one I'm going to do because I don't do anything else in the Ramba. So I rammed him over and over again, lost my shields inevitably to the mines, but I had a lot of fun. And I've got to say, the whole time we were in our gala, I had a lot of fun fighting the Brep guys. They were nice, they were honourable, there was some fun shit talk, but nothing really salty or like... It is almost a shame it descended into a lot of PvP rather than just BGS and RP and a bit of fun. You know, we've not killed that many people in 5 BGS attacks doing PPI. Generally, I think only one's really turned into combat with about 4 kills, and most of the time the PPI attack is settled in an honourable 1v1, someone versus Polo or someone versus Orc. It's, you know, been like a fun stapler for us, not something where we've slaughtered loads of people. So, you know, despite the fact it's really good advertising for us as to what happens if you don't pay PPI, ultimately I'm a little disappointed that this came down to a lot of slaughter. It's not what I envisaged when we went down this route of doing PPI attacks. But then I suppose I never really considered what would happen if someone didn't pay. I mean, a share on a wing mission is too much to ask. Jeez. I personally, 25 million they were offered, and it's like, okay, that's like a share on a wing mission, job done, nobody gets hurt. But you know, once Rep had made their decision and said we don't negotiate with terrorists, that's fine. You know, we can carry on coming down here once a month to remind them that they should have got PPI insurance. And one day I might have another good 1v1 with Boatfly against this ship, and I'll use my FDL. I did kill this ship a couple of times in my FDL, helping Frodo take the drives out and then killing it. But that's generally what you do to a Chieftain. I did give Boatfly some tips, and one of those was make sure you keep an eye on your drives. The Chieftain is a wonderful ship, but the drives are just so exposed. It's sometimes it's just suicidal flying that thing. But there we go. The Ramba is not the be-all and end-all ship. It's not even a good ship. Trust me, it's a nightmare to live with. It's not a good ship. It has a lot of issues. It has a lot of faults. I enjoy flying it. It's a bit of fun, and it's something silly and different that you don't see. And it's particularly good against the meta lances, and that's basically it. I use it because it's fun, silly and janky, and I'm not much of a PvPer, as many of you know. I could quite happily tomorrow go back to an all Lacon fleet and just become a trucker again and just bimble about doing that, if it wasn't for the fact I do like a little bit of piracy now and again. So maybe if I do that again, I'll go back to an all Lacon fleet apart from my 2 Cobras and just do piracy in them. But that's pretty much it for this video. I play out the rest of the clip. I'll actually explain what happened afterwards. So after this, I led Boatfly to Owl, let Owl take over for me in the Corvette, and Owl ended up fighting Boatfly. Old Blartborn dropped in, and Owl ended up 2v1 a Chieftain and a gunship versus his Corvette. Eventually Owl won the instance. Boatfly managed to take down Blartborn's shields, so that was quite funny. I didn't get any of that footage because I wasn't involved. I don't ghost back into fights unless the opposition do, so I was up in Super Cruise in my FDL, having fun, winging it around, and I ended up fighting some IED, and it ended up being a reasonably busy evening. It is hilarious how the Dark Marauders doing a PPI attack in our gala, because of IED's involvement, it turned into basically a community goal. It was ridiculous. Everybody seemed to turn up. There was one of the videos I was watching back, and as I'm like in the middle of doing something, Vaz messages me and says, "What's going on down there?" Because everyone's down there. There's so much of the community down there that it ends up being like a pseudo community goal, and that's hilarious. All because a small pirate faction was out to extract a tiny bit of money in an extortion racket that they do just for fun and roleplay purposes. It is crazy how many people gained entertainment through our little PPI scheme. Anyway, that's all for this video. 07 to Boatfly, 07 to Duke, GG's, and that's all. Thank you very much for watching.